Well, hello, and welcome to another of my series of conversations. My name is John Cornicello, and I welcome you to my series going live on most Mondays and Thursdays. Coming up next Monday, I have my favorite lighting instructors, David Bishu and Anders Hanola, coming on. Later this month, I've got Dale Bernstein, who assisted Irving Penn and Richard Avedon, and then Eric Joseph on the 26th. You can get all the details at cornicello.com/conversations. Let's see. Today, my guest is photographer Seshu, and we're going to talk about personal projects and a bit about the business of photography and headshots and what's going on in this time of COVID. So, please, a warm welcome for Seshu.
Thanks, guys. It's great to
Oh,
be here. John, thank you again for inviting me. It's always an
sure,
honor.
sure. I know you've been working on some projects.
Indeed. I've got two projects running at the same time, but one has sort of taken off, and I feel like I'm happy to share some photographs from that project and talk about how it started, what it means to be working, even though it's a tough time for a lot of photographers right now to be outside working with people, but there are ways to work with people in a safe manner. And so I'm happy to go over all of that with you. So let me know where you want me to start.
Yeah, let's describe the current project that you're working on.
Sure. Yeah, the project is called Project 06001. It's my hometown zip code. I live in Avon, Connecticut, which is a really small little suburb of Hartford, a little bit west of Hartford. And you know, for a number of years, I kept seeing the National Geographic on the back of National Geographic, I believe was there was always a feature where a photographer would go to a particular zip code and start photographing and creating images or creating stories or finding photo stories actually, and publishing it. And I thought, high time I did something like that right here in my hometown, given I live here. There's always the the pressure to travel, beyond one's borders to go find photographs and make stories. But right here in town, there's lots of stories to be told, and I believe that that's how I got started, is just to get more curious about what's happening in my town. And the project is essentially photographing kids portraits, creating
Mhm.
portraits of kids doing things that they enjoy doing, which is sports, music, dance, essentially that. I haven't found anybody to, like I'd love to photograph kids who are mostly into volunteering, for instance. I mean,
Mhm.
that would be something I'd love to do as well, uh, just to give this project a little bit more of a depth. Um, I'm happy to jump right into photographs if you'd like to, just to
Yeah,
give
let's
you
look
guys
at a
an
couple
idea of
here.
what
Have
these
you
look like.
have you set an age range for the kids you're photographing, or is it just
Yeah,
anybody?
typically 6 to about 16, or I've pushed it up to 18 actually.
Uh-huh.
So, something where I can definitely have a conversation with the kid.
Yeah,
Uh, Parents are always there,
Mhm.
present, of course,
Sure.
and when I'm photographing them, the initial awkwardness is there, and they don't know what to do and that kind of thing. But I walk them through certain things that I'm seeing in their either backyard or I'm looking at these photographs right now. Sometimes it's on a field, sometimes it's on their back deck, whatever it is.
Yeah, so go ahead and
It's
start the share.
sure, yeah. Let me go here. I think this is what I want to share, I believe. Let's go here. Let's try that. All right, do you guys see
Yep, I see
dragging
about
this up
12
here?
images there.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to start off with this is my son, my younger son who plays saxophone, and this was shot on my back deck. I set up a light, took some pictures of him, and this was sort of the genesis of the project. I hadn't really formulated an idea behind like creating a project 06001 just yet, but this is one of the first photographs I shot of a child in my community, my own home, and it made it easy, of course, So uh, when I started seeing the potential of this project, I started reaching out to parents on Facebook and said, "Hey, listen, I got a project idea. Would you be interested in participating?" And I posted this on Facebook's parent groups that I am a member of. I'm a parent, so I get to do this. where I can just say, hey, listen, I've got I've got some ideas here that I want to share with you. I'd like to photograph, the first 5, 10, 15 kids who are interested in this kind of thing. And sure enough, people love the idea, and I got people signing up, uh, readily signing up for it, and it went really well. And this started on August 1st. I remember the date very vividly because I just had shoulder surgery in March, at the end of March. No, I'm sorry, May, and I had to wait a couple of months before I started this project, and I couldn't wait to get going.
Yeah.
And as soon as I shared one photograph, and I think this was the photograph that I actually shared and said, "See, this is something I could do in your own backyard," and people got it. People said, "Okay, this is what we could do easily. We don't have to stand closer than 6 feet, obviously."
Right.
And everything was done literally 10 feet or more, so that is how it got started, in a way. So this is the first one of the series that I like to go to, and the subsequent ones are all branded differently. So bear with me, you'll
Yeah,
see a
sure.
difference. Let's go to the next one. So again, this is obviously a golfer who loves playing golf. You know, this is literally 5 minutes away from where I live, and I made an appointment with the parents, and they arrived early. The kid was actually driving golf balls, and you know, I just pulled him aside and said, "Hey, give me a few minutes." He gave me about 10 minutes or so, and then we went on to photograph his brother, who was interested in swimming or is a swimmer. So uh, this is sort of how I've been doing this, is just to try and get people to just commit to literally no more than 25, 30 minutes tops.
Hmm.
And as you can see from the way I shot this was shot 15 feet away, probably 10 feet away, something like
Sure.
that. And the parents are just thrilled with the results. They're happy with the way things are going.
Hmm.
And here's the thing, guys, I am not charging anything for these photos. The photo session itself is free.
Great.
I decided that at this time, in this time of craziness in our lives, we just want to do things for the love of it. And I tell the parents, if you see photographs and you love them, let's talk about prints, let's talk about printing, and we'll
Hmm.
go that direction when you're ready for it, and there's no pressure.
So how are you
And
handling styling on these? Is the parents helping with things like making sure that collars are straight and all that fun stuff? Or
I gotta look. I mean, I do my part in sort of making sure that the kids are looking half decent. I mean, I
hmm
don't overdo it. I can't obviously don't go touch
sure.
the collar. I don't go anywhere near the kids. Um, there are times when I photograph and I have to show them, like, okay, this is what we're getting, kind of thing, and that's the only time when I have my mask on, and I've
Hmm.
asked them to put their mask on, and I show them photographs on
Nice.
on the back of the camera, and literally it's just, again, as I said, 25, 30 minutes at the most. And if
Hmm.
something like this doesn't work for me, I move on to something quickly, to another direction, because I don't want the kid to get bored. I don't want
Right.
you know to get the kid to have that energy drop significantly. And I've seen that happen too. Kids have only so much attention span. So you've got to, engage them, talk to them, make them look good, make them feel comfortable, and then, set up your light, photograph, and move on. So,
Great.
let me see if I can move to the next
Yeah.
slide. Same idea. And the whole project started out the idea that, okay, I'm going to use only one light, if possible. And
Hmm.
here, obviously, I've used two lights, one in the background, one in the foreground. Um, but minimal gear. I do bring an assistant with me. It's usually one of my sons who helps out with, schlepping the, the light stand and the light, while I'm carrying my camera gear with me.
Sure.
And
How did you've fully recovered from the shoulder surgery?
I have, to a great extent. I'm about 85% there.
Okay.
Still need to keep working out and going to the physical therapy, of course. But
Yeah.
it's all coming together nicely, and I feel like this project really has sort of inspired me to keep going. I tell parents who are anxious that their kids are not going to be part of this. I say, no, calm down, guys. I'm going to be doing this throughout the year. You know, So don't worry, and again, it's the idea of making sure that they feel super comfortable working with me.
Right.
So that's, and on the backside of this, and I don't know if anybody's interested in, you know, really understanding this. This is marketing 101 for me. I feel like I am reaching out to the folks who are going to be my clients eventually. I'm not pushing them to be my clients right now. I'm just giving them something that they can enjoy, and obviously understand that, if they want something physical in their homes, they got to pay for it, and
Hmm.
whatever it is that they are paying for is going to be of a very high quality. So I've
Nice.
worked it out with a lab to produce these prints that are, you know, matted and, ready to frame. As I tell my clients, they're ready to frame and ready to go in a place, a special place in their homes. So
Great. Yeah, let's look. So we got soccer.
yeah, and if you guys notice this, these are all photographs, except for the first one with my son. These are all photographs that I've intentionally branded on the right hand side so that people understand that it's a special project. And
Hmm.
I don't use last names, even though
Sure.
ultimately, inevitably, a parent will see it and like it, or put the heart symbol on it or whatever, and people go, okay, well, this is obviously her son, or her daughter or whatever, and so it's a safe zone. I mean, all the parent groups are, very safe, and then, the people know each other so well here in this small town of ours that, there's no funny business going on. Everybody
Nice.
knows that this is a project that they can trust me with, and so I think this is how I've been branding it. So, you guys have any questions for me while I'm rambling on? I can't see anybody, by the way.
Yes. Now everyone's just got a couple of comments. Nice image, good image, very well lit.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I was interested. The first couple shots were all from a pretty low vantage point, which I thought worked really well. I'm just curious, sort of, how you arrived at that, or if that's something you're doing like deliberately on this series.
Yeah, it's a deliberate. It is a deliberate thing for me. I mean, there's a photographer named Eric Francis. I mean, obviously, not obviously, John Cornicello. If you have a chance to talk to to Eric Francis, you should. He's a fantastic
Okay.
photographer, a sports photographer out of the Midwest, and he and I talk a lot about, you know, photographing sports personalities, and he always tells me, go low, go low, go low, make
Make
them
them
look,
larger than life.
yeah, make them look really truly epic. And so I've been doing my very best in getting it lower and lower, intentionally. And this is a project where I get to play.
Hmm.
So I mean, there's no charge to the client, and I feel like if there's no charge to the client, I'm not beholden to their expectations, really. It's about meeting my expectations and my ability to see photographs and portraits and find locations and just make things happen.
Yeah, Jim's saying he likes the feeling that it's just a moment in the activity. They don't have a static, overly posed feeling to them.
Yeah, I think that's also pretty intentional on my end. Is like I don't want like the cheesy smiles, the overly, I don't know, posed subject
Hmm.
really doesn't really appeal to me. I'm interested in that sort of. I just pulled this kid and put him in front of this plant kind of thing, and
Yeah.
and shot a bunch of photographs, of course, and made it happen, made it work, and trying different lenses, trying different angles, trying different lighting. Like this afternoon, it is windy. I mean, you can't see, but it is windy here in the Northeast. Um, I'm going to be out there photographing with uh, modifiers that are hopefully going to be a little bit easier to work with than the big umbrella I brought, for this photo shoot. It would never work in today's wind. It would
Sure.
just start to blow over. So I got to just sort of juggle a lot of these things, and I feel like in some ways this is getting me prepared for that time, and I have to make a portrait of a CEO, or a prep school president, or prep school headmaster who really doesn't want to be there, who doesn't have the time, who needs to have photographs done in like literally 30 seconds. I should be ready to go, and the only way I can do that, and I thought about this, you got to go out there and keep doing these photographs again
Sure.
and
You got to
again and again.
practice.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta practice, And I tell my parents this, the parents who sign their kids up, I am very transparent with them. I said, I'm going to play with lights. I'm going to ask your kids to just sort of, do certain things and make them, obviously comfortable in front of the camera, but I'm going to be lighting them in different ways, and I'm just going to see what works. And they're like, okay, no problem, So,
Nice.
having that buy-in from parents and then ultimately the kids too, I think really is a real blessing. So that I can get to stay sharp with whatever I've been sort of been training to do. So
If I can ask a good question
Yeah.
to sort of follow
sure,
up
Jim.
on what I was saying is that I've noticed in working with good portrait photographers how good they are getting people to be relaxed in front of the camera. That's a skill I lack. This is why I photograph trees. And so, how is it that you work with the kids so that they are not um, tense and stiff? Because as I said, I'm really enjoying just this relaxed quality in these good these portraits.
So great question, Jim. I think it comes with uh, again practice, being out there and working with kids. And um, I've got two boys. Okay, so I got good practice at home. Having to get them to do their homework, having them to go eat their dinner or put away their clothes or whatever it is. As a parent, I've got that experience coming from home. But when it comes to somebody who I don't know, like this kid, for instance, few seconds before I photographed him standing the way he is right here, he was giggling like crazy. And so what happens is if you engage with whether it's a child or a person, you start giggling as well. That giggling will continue on for quite some time. But the minute you go silent and you go quiet, that's when you get the sort of look that you're getting right now. And it's a matter of, I guess, being, it's like the old amplifiers when you turn up the volume or turn down the volume, right?
Hmm.
That kind of thing needs to take place, and you're able to engage with a subject and get them sort of super hyper or super quiet. That's totally up to you, and it comes with practice. It comes up with being out there and doing it again and again. And some kids are super shy, and you have to get them sort of revved up a little bit. Actually, they're so introverted that they don't want to do anything, and that's been an issue too. I mean, despite all that you're seeing here, is that I'm fairly introverted myself, and I feel like for me to go out and meet absolute strangers and being able to make their portraits is a challenge as well. And it is definitely something I have started to enjoy as a challenge. I'll say I can get a great photo of them in whatever minutes, because that's all they have or whatever. It's a matter of just telling yourself you need to get out there and do it. And it's about doing things. It's about getting there and putting that camera to your eyes, setting the lights, and just making photographs and showing the kids, okay, here you go. This is what we got. We can do better. Can we do better? Let's try and do something else. And once they see that energy in you, they're more compliant as
Mhm.
well. They're more excited. They want
Have
to
you
be.
considered have you considered doing tethering to an iPad or something like that when you're outdoors to help them see this shot instead of having to get closer to each other? Just
That's a great
curious.
question. I have not considered it, but I will
Hmm.
now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I shoot with a Fuji. I don't know whether it's Fujifilm or what, but I don't know if compatibility issues are there with Fujifilm and these iPad programs.
Yeah,
So
it's always tough to get set up. I knew I was just playing with my Canon R6 the other
yeah,
day, and it took like 2 hours of nothing, 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 and all of a sudden it worked. I didn't change anything. Then I
right,
brought it downstairs to my studio and it didn't work. And the next day
yeah,
I went down to my studio and it did work. So yeah, they're very finicky.
they are, and I'm looking for a solution like that, and it's not something that hasn't been on my mind, but when you're in the field and you're photographing with
Sure.
you know two,
But
three,
then,
four
then the
pieces of
parents can
gear.
hold the iPad, look at it, and they can
Yeah,
show the kid instead of you having
yeah,
to bring
yeah,
them over. So great.
yeah,
Yeah. So let's look at some more.
absolutely. Let's go here. Let me move this photo of mine. There you go, right there. Any other questions, guys? Is it mostly guys here? Any women here as well?
Yes, Cheryl's in here now.
Cheryl, all right, Cheryl. Ask away if you have any questions. Again, the same low angle idea.
Mm-hmm.
I love the blue skies. I love photographing, obviously in blue sky. I'm using high speed sync quite a bit as well. As I said, it's about experimenting. It's about being okay with things not working out.
Yep.
Is this like a perfect photograph? Not really. I mean, I see things now in our arms that are kind of overly lit and things like that. And I didn't have a scrim available to me, so I was actually using the big 42-inch octobox as a sort of gobo in a way, and then filling her in with the light at the same time.
Nice.
So it's but as you can see, there's some sunlight just sort of snuck right through. But it's not a big deal. I don't care. And the mom loves this photograph. Loves the fact that her daughter looks so badass.
Attitude.
So
Yeah. It's
attitude is key in photographs like this. So let's go to another one. All right. So this is
That's great.
again a young golfer. Great story about this kid. He plays soccer, and I photographed him playing soccer a couple of weeks after this photograph because I learned that he plays the sport and he's very energetic and he loves the sport so much, and I just love the way he's just glowing,
yeah.
and I don't ask any of my kids to smile, not smile, nothing. It's about engaging them and saying, hey, just look like you own the sport or the musical instrument, or if you're a dancer, show me something that you enjoy doing as a dancer. So, and it's always getting the child, in this case the child's buy-in is always important, because if they
It's
don't
their
buy
picture.
into it, what's that?
It's their picture.
It's that picture, yeah. And if they don't buy in and their energy starts to dip, I don't get a photograph and they don't get a photograph. So who wins? Nobody wins. So yet another golfer. Lots of golfers in my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
As you can tell. So, and this is at a local, golf club. Again, right around the corner from me. Same place as the other golfer, actually. First,
Do you have to get permission to photograph there, or do you belong to the club or anything like that?
I don't belong to the club. No. My clients typically ask for the permission, and
Okay.
I say very gently, if you'd like to be photographed on the golf course, please make arrangements for me to be there and let the administration know that I'm going to be around for about half an hour or so. So far, it has not been a problem at
Good.
all. So, yeah.
Hey, Seshu, I just want to say I love the framing of this shot, kind of the wide, the
Yeah,
wide view. Really works well. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's happy. Everyone's thankfully happy. Fingers crossed that these photographs have all sort of worked together and worked well. Here's the thing: I don't know what I'm going to expect when I get here, because these are this was one of the first times I was on this golf course. I've never seen this part of the golf course, so everything's new to me. So I'm in there, sort of looking to the left, looking to the right, and going, okay, let's put you here. Let's have you here, and then bring the light in, and then the framing, and then multiple photographs, of course, and we try and get to one where obviously she looks, in this case, comfortable, and I think it works. We put the golf balls in the front of her. There's a little bit of in terms of posing, that kind of stuff happens. Just make sure it looks and feels like an environmental portrait, essentially.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Should I go on?
Yeah, please.
All right. So this kid is actually not a kid anymore. He's a young man, 18 years old, playing baseball for a prep school not too far from where I live. And he and I have worked before, actually. So he was used to all the equipment and all the gear that I brought with me. And super nice guys. Loved working with him. The clarinet player in the front of the slideshow is his brother, actually. So it's all in the family. So this is Gabriella. This is Braden's sister. And as you can tell, this is all sort of shot in people's backyards. I don't have to go very far. They don't have to go very far, you know. And she had a couple of changes of outfits after this shot, and I was like, fine, you know, take some time to go in and do that. I'll go work with Braden. So it, making it easy, I think, is such a big part of the process as well. You know, if you make it easy for the parents, they're more likely. If I'd said, hey, you've got to bring your kids to my home studio or my garage or my backyard, it would have never happened. I
Right.
know. I feel like you've got to make it super easy for people to say yes. You know, and this is definitely this has definitely worked in my favor. High school softball player, and I had a really good time photographing her and her twin brother, who's a football player for the same high school. So here I'm using high-speed sync, low, you know, a really shallow depth of field. I love that look, and it definitely, you know, makes each of these athletes or kids, you know,
Yeah.
look a lot more.
What lights are you using?
I'm using Godox
Uh-huh.
8400s
Okay.
for the most of these photo shoots.
Great.
Yep, they work just fine for me, and um, you know, sometimes I use the 200s if it's an overcast day and I'm not fighting the sun, and I go with the 200s. So and
And they catch some splash.
yeah, this is, I mean, you know, the kid, it was a cold day. The kid didn't really feel like going to the water, and or did finally end up going to the water, but initially was just like at the very edge of the pool, and he started just playing with the water. And I said, "This is great. Let's do this." So it's about, again, finding a location that works for the kids and have, you know, photographing them in an activity that makes sense for them.
Yeah.
So, because I photographed him with his keyboard as well, because he's a musician. He's a piano player, and
Nice.
it worked to a certain extent. But I think the energy level was definitely much higher here. So
Cool.
that, yeah, that is my run of 12 so far that
Great.
I've photographed for this
So
project.
these are things you're doing for free. What's business like since COVID? I mean, I know you do headshots too. And
Yeah. So
other
headshot,
things.
yeah, the headshots have. Let me stop the sharing
Yeah.
business here. Headshots have really taken off for me, and not so much in August, but in September it really took off, and I photographed a number of people who are starting to book and come in and just want those headshots more than ever. I think there's definitely a market for that. There will be a market for that for a long time. So
I see a question came in on one of the photos. It was a metallic nail polisher. Nails look like claws. I didn't catch which image that was attached to.
I don't know. Which one is it? You want me to go back?
I don't know, Jim, do you remember what image it was?
The last lacrosse player.
Oh,
The softball player.
The softball player.
Yeah.
no, Jim says it's the lacrosse.
Now I'm curious. Oh, hold on.
Back to the videotape.
The video. Hold on, guys.
The blonde girl near the end.
The young woman that we all liked her expression. No,
With the orange shoes?
yes, orange shoes
Orange shoes.
near
That
the
one.
very end.
That one.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that her nails. Yeah, I don't know. See, I don't direct people to wear anything other than their uniform, really. You know, for these photo shoots. So that must be something that she's just sort of worn to go to when she goes to high
Yeah.
school. So
Well,
So-
Nice noticing the details.
she's got this sort of quiet attitude, and then you look at that, or I noticed these claws. And I'm like, would not want to be competing against her.
yeah, she's pretty fierce in terms of. I think she plays defense for the school or for this travel team. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the headshots. So people are starting to come to you.
Yeah, there's definitely the need for headshots is there, and
Hmm.
what I've done is I pull I have a two-car garage. I pull the cars out, and I set up my headshot studio really in my garage, and no one's complained, and they come through one door and go out the other door, and
Yeah.
it's ventilated so far. Again, this is something we're talking August through September through now. It's been
Yeah,
working really
we're all
well.
trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we are. We
We're
are.
all
You know, what was I going to say? The 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 number of people who are interested in headshots is only going to go up, I think, as things start to come back, because people are transitioning to new jobs,
hmm
or starting to look for new jobs, and what do they usually want is better headshots for LinkedIn, for their own website, whatever it is
Right.
they got going on, so.
Cool. Is there anything else you want to cover? I know you have another job this afternoon that you're getting ready for, so I don't
Yeah,
want to keep you on too long here.
no worries, no worries. Any questions, guys?
Yeah,
I'm an
please,
open
from the
book.
audience,
Any any other questions?
unmute and join in.
Hey, yeah, I'll ask you a question. I know that different flash photographers approach the process of finding a good exposure differently. Some will, come in with meter and figure out exactly what the setting should be and then just tweak it. Others will try a couple shots, adjust more sort of as they go. Just
Yeah.
curious, like, what's your process for balancing the flash with the ambient light, that sort of thing?
So I have to admit, I used to use a flash meter, but if I'm using high speed sync, that really is of no use anymore. So I've been really truly only eyeballing it from the back of the camera. So I'll sort of start off at a relatively known power on the flash itself, probably 1/8 or 1/16, and just sort of start dialing it up and down based on what I'm seeing in the back of the camera. I mean, there's no other way to do it really. I know the newer Sekonic flash meters
The
are able.
858 supposedly does
Yeah, yeah, but
high
I
speed
think
sync,
it's
but
like $500-600,
it
right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if I need to spend that kind of money. So
You don't. You're
Exactly.
making
Well,
great
thanks.
photographs.
So
what's
where
that?
does your headshot business come from? What kind of businesses are coming to you? What are you seeing?
I live in Connecticut, so it's insurance quite a
Insurance.
bit. I have a lot of realtors, insurance people, lawyers, physicians, because we have UConn Medical School just down the road from where I live. So a lot of physicians who are looking well, they're medical students at the moment that are looking to apply for medical residency programs. They they tend to want better photographs to submit as part of their residency applications. So I got a lot of those clients as well. Yale Medical is not too far away. It's about 45 minutes away, maybe an hour away. And then there's another college here as well called Quinnipiac Medical. So, we've got clients from all three, but most of them are sort of in the Hartford area. A lot of finance, a lot of insurance, you know, lawyers, for instance, definitely want better
Yeah.
headshots. So
Big business area.
yeah, it's definitely a nice place to be for headshots. So
Cool. Well, anyone else have questions? Anything else you want to cover here? We've got a few more minutes here that we can talk to Seshu.
So you're looking at using a print service to fulfill print requests. Um, are you getting the right colors? I mean, how does that process work? Because I've never done that, and I've always done my own printing.
so,
And
so can you repeat your question again one more time because you got cut off?
I've always done my own printing,
Yeah.
and I've never used a print service. Are you getting the print quality that you like? Well, obviously you are.
Yes. You're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about color matching and things like that. How's the color
Matching
calibration and the like?
words.
Yeah, I've had no problems. I work with a company called Bay Photo,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and I mean, I love sending my files to them, and it's never been an issue. I am going to start working with a new lab. In addition to Bay Photo, I'm going to be working with another one called Musea down in Tennessee, and they do things a little bit differently than Bay Photo. They're not as volume oriented. They're more hands-on. A lot of hand cut mats and archival inked inkjet prints and things like that. So I like the more artisanal side of things when it comes to delivering a product of a higher quality. I mean, you can. Here's the thing. I mean, if you're charging a certain amount of money, you got to sort of rationalize as to why you're charging that too, right? So I feel like okay, I can do this because number one, it looks great, it looks really nice, and it's gonna last forever.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, price is no object really.
So do you
Yes,
have
Michael.
do you have the images shipped to you, or do you drop ship to the client?
No, I don't drop ship. This is another thing I love doing as well is personally delivering photographs to people's homes. It's another touch point. It's another opportunity for me to connect with people here in my community and ask questions and hey, just make sure that they're doing okay and
Yeah,
kind of thing.
that's
Being a good neighbor, I think more than anything else. So yeah,
cool.
Michael,
Are you shooting in RAW?
100%.
So when you send the files to the lab,
Yeah,
you are calibrating your monitor before you do anything in Photoshop? Oh, let me back up. Let me back up. Do you do anything in Photoshop?
I do.
So are you setting
Everything
up
is
your,
Photoshop.
are you setting your monitor up?
Yeah,
Are you calibrating your monitor?
I'm not very good at it, to be honest with you. I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not. I do tend to veer more to the results that my lab will deliver to me, and I'm being very very happy. So I figure if I start messing things on my end and start sending them files, they're gonna start messing things up on their end as well. I'd rather just send them the file. If the files come back and they look like crap, Bay Photo, for instance, will definitely reprint it, and I'll say, listen, I don't think this is of quality. Send me something that works better, and they'll then probably ask me, did you calibrate your monitor like you're asking me right now? And I'll probably say no. So, but I work off of an iMac. The colors are pretty consistent from my experience, so I have not had a chance to really worry about it that much.
Have you ever sent the same image to the two different labs to see the
No.
results?
No, I have not. Would you recommend it? Is that what you recommend, Michael?
What I would recommend is that you calibrate your monitor. No big deal. You get a spider or a
Yeah.
That's
what's the
right.
one?
That's
I
right.
have a
Yeah, I won.
I forget the name of it.
It's probably the X-Rite I1 or the Data Monkey.
The monkey. I have the monkey.
Okay.
Okay.
I calibrate it about every 2 to 3 weeks, and it's set up so that if there's any sort of variation in the ambient light, which I keep very low,
Mm-hmm.
it will make minor adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Once I do that, I make my TIFF the way I want it, and I lock the file. And the reason why I lock the file is because even though I'm doing up to 19-inch prints myself, but if I want to make something larger than that, I take the same file, same exact file, and I send it off to the lab who I know is also working off calibrated monitors like every day.
Yeah.
And it comes back exactly the way
Mm-hmm.
I did it on the 13 by 19 paper that I used.
Yeah.
But until you take the same image and send it to two different labs and see what the results are from both labs, you'll never know. Like I always say, what color's an apple?
Yeah.
People say red.
Yeah.
Oh, there's yellow. There's brown. There's black. Let an apple rot for a while.
Yeah.
Good point. I like that. I think it's definitely something that one should do. When I mean, regardless of where you are as a photographer, I think you should have calibrated monitors and work with a lab that you trust. I mean, I implicitly trust Bay Photo, so
Yeah.
I mean that's probably why I haven't really bothered so much about
Big
looking at the
photos
colors.
where in Boston?
No, they're in San Francisco, I think.
No, I think
Oh,
it's I want to say San
California
Luis Obispo, maybe.
Okay, but it is West Coast. It's in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
So John Wallace was asking, do you charge extra for retouching or have an all-inclusive price when doing headshots?
So headshots are the way I've structured it is there's a price for the session and then there's price per photograph that includes retouching after the fact. So I photograph folks who come in and they spend unlimited time. I mean, literally they can spend 3-4 hours if they wanted to, and I have them bring multiple outfits and work with them till we have a body of work for them to look at that they are interested in buying, and we sort of knock it down from somewhere between 40 photographs to maybe 10 photographs or 11 photographs. I don't know, whatever it is that they want. Ultimately they're paying per photograph at that point, and then when they've paid up, I send the files to a retoucher who does the retouching, and then I finish up and then deliver the files to them.
So you use an outside service for some of your retouching?
I do, yeah. I think it just saves me a little bit of computer time
sure.
on my end.
Joe's asking, what model Godox lights are you using?
It's a Godox 8400 Pro.
So AD as in 2 letters.
AD, yes.
Yeah.
What the retoucher? What's the retoucher retouching on? In other words, they're retouching on the TIFF.
There's I send them large JPEGs. They're not working
really?
on TIFFs. Yeah.
And that's
Most of the
pretty
headshots
standard.
most of the headshots are being used online. They're not used for printing anyway. So they're
Okay.
removing things like background stuff or skin blemishes and things like that. So there's not much of a push for printing of headshots. Not yet.
On your portraits, and you said you were looking for a more art. I'm going to mangle this word. Artisanal look for them.
Yeah.
Have you thought about exploring different papers? And I say that because I'm a photo paper junkie who spent
Yeah. If you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'm always looking for paper that
is like a small child would be killed if it fell over.
Yeah.
On the
There are
26th, I've got Eric coming in, and his specialty is printing papers.
Awesome.
And he starts with people saying, what are you looking for in the output? And then he'll recommend papers and the like. He's part of Freestyle Photo in LA. That's Eric Joseph.
I'm going to recommend Red River paper.
Yeah, if you go back through the previous shows, I had Mr. Hendricks on, Drew Hendricks from Red River a few weeks ago. So go look at my archives, and he talked
Red
about
River paper.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you got to understand something, that in the entire world, there's only about 7 paper mills, and they make the paper for all the paper companies.
Yeah.
That's all there are. Red River papers out of
Texas.
Dallas,
Mhm.
Dallas, Texas, and I found that their papers are phenomenal. So,
Anything in particular though? Any particular finish, I guess you would call it, that you would recommend?
The Beretta.
I don't like anything gloss. I don't like anything semi-gloss. I'll sometimes like luster, but most important of all, I like a matte a matte finish. But all of the papers that I use from Red River are very heavy museum quality paper, because they make archival that is just incredible. I'll recommend. I love Polidoro.
Polidoro.
Palo and then Duro. Polidoro. Yep.
Cool.
So, Seshu, do you do any of your own printing at home?
No.
Well, I mean, that's where these papers are going to come in. You know, if you had like the Canon Pro 1000 or something like that.
Yeah. 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 The company that I just mentioned to you, the one in Tennessee, may have this paper. I'm going to ask them if they do, and give it a shot. So, and I'll take Michael's tip on sending the files to two
Yeah,
different labs.
try a few
See what
different
happens.
labs just to see what happens.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Could
I
be
love it.
interesting.
Just try
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And up in Connecticut, there's a couple. I mean, don't you have local labs that do a lot of work for headshots and stuff like this? Right in Connecticut?
How do you mean by a lot of work for headshots? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, people aren't printing headshots anymore, except for maybe some actors. But most of the business headshots, I haven't had a client request a print in 3 or 4
Okay,
years.
so then a printing company in Connecticut that does a lot of work.
Yeah, there are a couple. I mean, I don't know if I've actually reached out to anybody really. Here's the thing. I've been to some of these so many of these industry trade shows, and I think the last one was in Arizona where I met John, and I sat down with Bay Photo and I talked to them about what I'm doing, and I feel like I have a relationship with them already, and so starting a new relationship with, even if they're right in my backyard, maybe.
Well, you see, I like to look at this thing as if it was a medical condition.
Okay.
So you have the one in California, you have the one in Tennessee. Go for a third opinion. Check out somebody right in Connecticut somewhere, and
All right.
just see what each of them does with the same file.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know if I would do this with a JPEG. Send them a
Yeah.
tip. Send them a tip. See what they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Thank
my
you.
3 cents.
Cool. And yeah, for those who are doing printing, as Jim said in the chat, you can get sample kits to see all the different textures.
Yeah.
So anyway, as I said, on the 26th,
Thank
Eric
you.
Joseph will begin to talk about printing papers. But on Monday, I'm expecting to have a really exciting show with David Bishu and Anders Hanola. They've done all the education for Pro Photo lights, and they really know lighting, the technical side of things. They're the guys I go to when I have lighting questions. So it's going to be fun, and they have strong accents too. So it's going to be interesting to watch. So please join us on Monday. And with that, I'm going to say good day for now and shut down the recording, and I'm going to hang on here for a few minutes afterwards.